This will be like story time. Okay, so the name of our blog itself is bookbarblog.com. And this particular blog post is titled BookBar's Extremely Official Response to Extremely Negative Comments with Book Recommendations. After our drag queen story time was targeted by white supremacists this week, we received an outpouring of support and kindness from our community. We also received some negative comments via phone messages, email, social media, and in response to the news reporting of the incidents. We took the time to answer your questions and reply to your comments. We're including some book recommendations because we are booksellers and just can't help ourselves. So why drag storytime in the first place? We are a community bookstore that responds to the needs of the community, so we've tried out a variety of themes. Fire and brimstone story time, in which a man dressed as a preacher reads stories about how children are born sinners, and if they don't act right, they'll be cast into a pit of fire for all of eternity, ruled by a demon with a pitchfork. If you have any feelings of creativity or self-expression that might be different than those of your parents or than you see other children expressing, just bury those feelings way deep down so you don't burn up in the afterlife. So that didn't turn out well. Children burst into tears, and we received strongly worded letters from parents about how their kids were having nightmares. Then there was Baby Seals Club story time, to call attention to the plight of baby seals. Admittedly, the piñatas might have been a little over the top. This event resulted in more tears from children and strongly worded letters from mama seals from the Arctic to the Antarctic. So that's when we tried drag queen story time, and to everyone's surprise, it turns out that children actually respond well to rainbows, glitter, dressing up in costumes, and stories about love, kindness, unity, and acceptance. I mean, who knew? So we did more of them. Book recommendation, Just Add Glitter, by Angela Di Terlizzi. I hope I got that name right. Has there been any negative response from your previous drag queen story times? And the answer is nope, nada, zilch. We host these events quarterly. This event was probably our 5th or 6th one, including the one that was featured on the opposition show, and I included a clip to that you should definitely watch because it's hilarious. The only thing that has sparked outrage about drag queen story time was the one in which we were vandalized by a member of a white supremacist group. Being targeted by Nazis somehow sparks anger against drag queens in bookstores. I'll channel Jeff Foxworthy here for those of you old enough to remember his shtick. If you defend the actions of white supremacists, if you side with white supremacists, if you take the opportunity to attack a business that has been attacked by white supremacists, then you might be a... I'll let you fill in the blank there. So that book recommendation is How We Fight White Supremacy by Akiba Solomon. We received quite a few of these comments and questions. Did BookBar or some Antifa group stage this themselves? Yes, totally. In fact, we hired Jesse Smollett himself to place the stickers on our door because we so enjoy that sound of scraping stickers off glass with a razor blade. And then we hired an actor to spray paint our window because the sound we enjoy almost as much as scraping the stickers off of glass is the sound of scraping spray paint off of glass. The actor agreed to get arrested, booked, spend a night in jail, use his own money to post bond, have a criminal record, and probably be charged with a hate crime. As an independent bookstore, we couldn't think of anything better to do with all that money we make from book sales. Oh, and the police department agreed to play along because they have nothing better to do and have tons of resources for such shenanigans. Fun was had by all. And the book recommendation, Fascism, A Warning by Madeleine Albright. Okay, so this is a very common thread of a comment that we received and a question. Why are you using innocent children to force an agenda? Well, because grown-ups already have fully formed opinions. We recognize that we really have to start when children are young in order to indoctrinate them to a message of unconditional love and acceptance of everyone everywhere. Grown-ups have already decided whether or not they're going to be meanies and poo-poo heads, as evidenced by some of the comments we've received. We like to teach children how to be nice to each other, aka not meanies and poo-poo heads. We also like to teach children to read at a young age so they grow up to be readers as adults with empathy and understanding of others. Also, you've probably noticed the significant uptick in little boys walking around Denver with dresses, I'm guessing. Oh wait, you haven't? So this book recommendation is Last Stop on Market Street by Matt de la Pena. Aren't you promoting sex to young children? Define young. We wait until they're at least 18 months old before we require them to choose a specific gender or sexual preference. I mean, think about it. You can't even try to sign their names to a contract without their parents' help until then. Their little hands just aren't dexterous enough. This book recommendation, It's Okay to Be Different by Todd Parr. The next comment is, I don't want my tax dollars going to this library. Library does not equal bookstore. They are not the same thing. We sell books and are most certainly not government funded. Book recommendation, The Library, A Catalog of Wonders by Stuart Kells. Aren't drag queens pedophiles? See above. Drag queens don't equal pedophiles any more than bookstores equal libraries, or dogs equal cats, or ice cream equals hamburger. Get it? Got it? Good. Book recommendation, Guru by RuPaul. I'm confused by the pronouns used in the news articles to reference the drag queen. So, Shirley Delta Blow is a man, he, who dresses like a woman and plays a character, she. The reporters for 9 News and the Denver Post asked Miss Shirley her pronoun preference, as any decent, respectful human does, and went with his or her choice. Simple, right? You would think, but to complicate matters, Miss Shirley at first asked to be referred to as an alicorn, which is a cross between a Pegasus and a unicorn. Some believe that they have extra magical powers, even more magical than Pegasus and unicorns alone. There's fierce debate on this subject. Some even insist that alicorns do not exist. They're staunchly either pro-unicorn or pro-Pegasus, never alicorners. We figured we'd start with trying to get people over losing their minds about a man wearing a dress before we broach the whole alicorn debate. If you're still confused, just watch an episode of Baskets with Louis Anderson. Just don't get hung up on the whole clown subplot, because I don't know that we'll have time to cover that here. Book recommendation, It Feels Good to Be Yourself, a book about gender identity by Teresa Thorne. Next comment, this is child abuse. No, this is child abuse. It's a photo of children being kept in cages at the border. Book recommendation, The Line Becomes a River by Francisco Cantu. We do not want this shoved down our throats. We hear you. Okay, how about this? Next time we host a drag queen story time, we will not round everyone up and forcibly shove them into the store against their will and make them listen to children's stories. We're all for compromise and will happily make that concession. Book recommendation, On Democracy by E.B. White. Okay, so this is one of my favorite comments. People also enjoy watching dogfights and cockfights, but those are not okay either. Correct. Dogfights and cockfights are not okay. Also, next up, drag queen cage match story time. Thank you for the suggestion. Book recommendation, Fight Chub. Fight Club. By Chuck. Oh, but his name is so hard. Chuck Palahniuk. Okay, next comment. Praise God, Jesus. Okay, book recommendation, Why Religion? A Personal Story by Elaine Pagels. Why not have other members of the community do story time like veterans or firefighters? We do that too. Authors and educators are often guest storytellers. We've invited the police in to do story time, but most of their time is allocated to staging anti-white supremacist stunts, like we mentioned above. Firefighters have to leave at a moment's notice to fight fires, and if you've ever parked on Tennyson Street, you'll know there's barely room for a Toyota Yaris, much less a fire truck. Also, fun fact, drag queens are actually real people. Again, not to be confused with alicorns. So they are teachers, veterans, firefighters, police, dentists, marriage counselors, doctors, chefs, lawyers, used car salesmen, architects, cashiers, artists, authors, zookeepers, electrical engineers, politicians, but primarily entertainers. Book recommendation, Giraffes Can't Dance by Giles Andre. This is the devil's work. Funny story about that. When the devil first brought his resume in, we were dubious, but being an equal opportunity employer, we figured we'd give him a chance. Turns out he has some really great event ideas and is surprisingly very well read. He's also super good at doing dishes, and less surprisingly, can start up the fire pit without needing a lighter, which is handy on a busy night. We're working through some tardy issues, but he's pretty efficient and a quick learner. Book recommendation? Good Omens, The Nice and Accurate Prophecies of Agnes Nutter Witch by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. Okay, this is the last one. We think that what you are doing is disgusting. Cool, cool. We live in a democracy where you have a choice. You used it, good for you. Now can we interest you in an enjoyable beach read? Book recommendation, Red, White, and Royal Blue, a novel by Casey McQuiston.